Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist. Here with some words of wisdom for our day, and TJ has to pitch in his 2 cents worth there. Oh well. So, we have a lovely card today. Continuing from our card deck that just seems to keep popping up. A lot of things to share with us. Good morning, Luann. Good morning to whomever else just popped on. The Grace Cards deck by Cheryl Richardson. And apparently we're needing to work on our grace these days. And I know we had this card a while ago, but a little different focus is coming up for me. TJ, you're fine. You're fine. Come here once. Yes, come visit. Hello. Hello. You're disrupting Facebook with the hackers. So our card is receive. I'm going to move it a little closer. Yep. And pay attention. Did you just have a visceral reaction to the card? Receive. Not give. Receive. Okay? And especially, I think, for women and women of a certain age, we were heavily trained to give, and not, we're lauded when I don't need anything, it's fine, it's okay. And then everybody wondered why, when we ran out of gas, that happened. So let's focus on our breath for a minute, because I think it's a perfect analogy for giving and receiving. So I want you to inhale. That's the receiving. Exhale. That's the giving. Inhale again. Exhale. Now I want you to inhale only by half. And exhale fully. Inhale by half. Exhale fully. Can you already feel the depletion? That's what happens when we buy into that idea, that storyline, that we're supposed to give, and not replenish the coffers. We run out of steam. That's what happens. So we are going to practice the balance, the equity between giving and receiving. So first thing I want you to notice is, look at all the orbs in here. Right there's one, right here's one, floating all over the place in there. I just thought it was kind of fun. I just noticed that. So here are our words. When we open ourselves up to others, we open ourselves up to the abundance of the universe. And opening ourselves up to others can be, good morning, Donnie, glad you're here, can be that receiving part of the equation, all right? And to begin with, some of us who have been heavily trained not to receive, we're going to need some practice, all right? So we're going to practice right now, all right? I want you to think about a recent situation where someone offered you something. Could be time, could be food, could be money, could be to do something nice for you, could be to go somewhere with you. Think of a time when someone offered you something. First thing I want you to pay attention with that is, how did you feel? Did you have that, ooh, this is wonderful, let's do this? Or did you have the, oh, I really shouldn't accept that, that's too much, I don't deserve, all that whole line of horse hockey, okay? Just note that. Just note that. You don't have to do anything with it yet. Next thing I want you to notice is, did you say yes or did you say no? And to flip that on its ear a little bit, morning, Lisa, glad you're here. I want you to notice when you're the giver and someone says yes, allows you to do something for them, give them something, whatever it is, how do you feel? How do you feel? Pretty darn good, don't you? All right? So when you are the receiver and you say no, you're cutting off someone's feeling good. You're not allowing them to feel good. You can be the playing field on which they get their goal, all right? So you can allow yourself to be the one who receives, such that the other person can feel good. So that's one way to frame up being the recipient, such that it makes it a little easier to allow, okay? But other things I want you to think about too. There's been a lot of social psychological research around giving and receiving. And when we allow someone to give, it puts them in the position of being more likely and willing to give again to someone else. When we allow someone to give, it also puts us in the position of being more likely for us to give to someone else. You see that all the time with the pay it forward thing in the Starbucks line, right? I pay for the person behind me, they pay for the person behind them, they pay for the person behind them, and it goes for a while. It goes for a while. So we want to get this giving, receiving thing rolling. In order for it to keep rolling, we have to be willing to receive. All right? Sometimes we play both roles. Sometimes we can play both roles in a unique way, where we give to ourselves, finally, right? So my gift for myself today is a chiropractor appointment. I've been waiting for this because all this moving has not been easy on a 60-year-old body. Well, about to turn 61. And so I'm gifting myself the self-care of going to see the chiropractor. It was supposed to be on Friday, but he got sick. So this morning at 9:45, I will be waltzing through his door with bells on. And actually the way I met this particular chiropractor was under great duress. It was the day after my mom had died, and 2 years ago, and I bent over to pick up a 12-pack of soda, and my back went out. I could not move. It was miserable. It was 10 to 8. I Googled a chiropractor near me because I didn't think sitting in the car for very long was going to be something that flew. And his name popped up, and I went and saw him, and he was awesome. So now that I'm down here, he will be my go-to guy for adjustments. But again, that was one of those things where it probably, you're under stress. You don't really realize how much stress until something happens, like your back goes out. So we want to be open to receiving sooner than waiting till your back goes out, all right? When we get the flow going of the giving and the receiving, like it says on the card, we open ourselves up to the abundance of the universe. When we're running tight on something, time, energy, money, whatever, and we start hoarding it. Good morning, Jean. Welcome. Glad you're here. And we start hoarding it. Then what happens is the flow of divine energy goes down to a trickle. So rather than much abundance flowing to me and much abundance flowing out, it goes down to a trickle. We're hoarding. We got to let stuff go, right? So think about it in terms of money. That's an easy one to do. When I had first bought the motel almost 8 years ago, money was tight. Money was tight. But I knew about this principle. So I would do things like anonymously put a $100 bill in an envelope and mail it to someone I thought could use it. Or pay it forward at wherever I was. Hand somebody money just for the heck of it. Here, have $20. The value of that being that when I flowed that money out, even though money was tight, money flowed back in, oftentimes tenfold, just like it says in the Bible. So when you feel hoardy on something, see what you can do to let things go, to hand something off, to bless it on its way, because there's so much stuff we have, and that's actually going to be the point. I've come up with the name for the class I'm going to offer. Let me see if I can pull it out of my little brain. Lighten the load. Lighten the load. That's going to be the 10-week class that I'm going to have online. So, and I'm charging $9.99. So nobody has the excuse that they can't afford it, right? And we're going to do 10 weeks of clearing. We're going to start, good morning, Linda, with simple things like clearing out a drawer, clearing out your purse or your wallet. Simple things. But know that especially if you're kind of that hoarder, afraid to let go of stuff person, it's going to stir stuff up. All right? We'll deal with that stuff on the early end, the drawer end, so that when we get to the end and we're releasing a belief that no longer serves us, a role that no longer serves us, we actually have some steam built up and some skill set for coping with the discomfort we are going to feel. All right? And we can then move it forward. I'll create a Facebook group for us, a private group. We can move it forward, continuing the process, and I'll probably offer the class over and over, probably not for the inaugural rate, but we can continue to connect and keep things going because we need support on this stuff. When we're changing something that are habits of a lifetime, we need support. So I'll give you one of mine for that. I rewatched the psychic reading I had with Victoria Laurie from November, this past November. And that was before a whole lot of stuff unfolded the way it's unfolding. And her opening statement to me was, "Are you planning a trip or a move?" And she was seeing West Coast, and she had a little different twist on some of the aspects of it, and we'll see how that all unfolds as we go here. But it was interesting to note many of the things that she said about that. So I watched it again yesterday because I'm that much more distant. The move has taken place, the motel is sold, etc. And I'm in this interim period where I'm serving a purpose, and then we'll see how it unfolds from there. So also, if you all can send up some prayers today, my sister has her surgery today. So we'll see how that all goes. I'm setting the intention. It's going to be minimal, and on we go. But going back to that flow, if I had hunkered down when she said, okay, she said, you got to get rid of a whole lot of stuff. And as we're fishing our way through some of that, I had an epiphany, an aha. The aha was my mom tended to collect stuff. She had lots of collections. She has lots of collections. She's gone 2 years. We're still sorting through collections. But that's what I learned was the environment for love, right? So when I'm in an environment where there's not much stuff, I don't know how to be. So I've had to practice. The move itself was instrumental in letting go of a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things that she said on the recording, the psychic, was, yes, you can hang on to a roll of electrical tape for 2 years until you need it. Or 2 years from now when you need it, you can go buy another roll of electrical tape. Yes, so I'm blessing things on their way. We're beginning to plan our spate of summer rummage sales to move more stuff on. And I'm adding a lot of my stuff to the mix. I need to be light to be free to move about the country. All right. So that's where the class idea came up. It's always easier to do things when you have support. So as I am mentoring others about this process, it's going to provide support for me as I go through it also. New ways of being are not easy to sustain. Sometimes they're easy enough to create, but sustaining them is not so easy. So that's the 10-week course. We're going to support each other through this. Then we'll have the Facebook private group after to keep us going. So I'm hoping to have it up and ready for registration by the end of the week. We'll see how able I am to get it together here. And this is actually going to be the first event that Marlo and I put together with me here and her in Rapid River. So rather than being able to run to each other's desks and saying, okay, I need help with this part or whatever, we're going to be doing it via distance. So we'll see how that goes. What else? What else? Receiving. Are you breathing right now? Or has some of what I'm talking about caused you to go, oop, and not letting it come forward? Thank you for the good vibes for Vicky. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get some breath going and see what happens. In through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Now you keep it going, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Scan your body from head to toe as you continue to breathe. What are you noticing? I noticed first thing, my shoulders dropped and my chest opened. That's when I start getting a little tense or geared up about something. That's the kind of the flushing effect that I now have trained in to breathing. Okay? Don't be frustrated if you find that periodically during the day you are not breathing or you're breathing real shallow. We've got a pattern built up. Now we need to influence that pattern in other ways. Again, like I said yesterday, set a timer on your phone for 5 times during the course of the day. When the timer goes off, check in with yourself. How am I breathing? Anxiety breath or relaxed breathing. Know that it takes practice. Research says 21 days typically is good enough to get it lodged into a new habit. I personally heavily espouse attaching that new habit to previous habits, okay? So it can be things like every time I get in the car to drive somewhere, I'm practicing my breathing. When I brush my teeth morning and night, I practice my breathing. Link it up with stuff you do repeatedly. I eat 3 meals a day and a bedtime snack. Those 4 times a day, I'm going to practice my breathing. Link it up with something you already do, okay? That will make it far more likely you can maintain it, all right? But the whole gist behind the breathing thing for today is giving and receiving. The inhale being the reception, the exhale being the giving. We want a balance of both. We are unhealthy when we allow it to get out of balance. And many of us have spent a lifetime, decades, being the giver, 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 and not allowing others to give to us. Here's your exhortation to practice the balance. Inhale and exhale. And it doesn't have to be, and I've kind of made this point, but I'm going to make it again because sometimes we need to get it pounded into our heads. It doesn't have to be tit for tat. So A does for B and then B owes A. No, there's no gigantic scoreboard in the sky that keeps track of this stuff. A does for B, B can do for C, C does for D, D does for A then does for X, X does for Y does for Z, Z does for A. It all comes out in the wash. But it's getting past that scarcity belief that there's not going to be enough to go around, etc., etc. Challenge that belief by giving away some stuff and see what comes back to you. See what comes back to you. Practice clearing that that might be the belief that you decide to do when we do the class way toward the end, like week 9, where we're challenging a belief. We're letting go of a belief that's keeping us playing small. No more time for playing small. It is time for us to be as big as we're meant to be, all right? God didn't make us to be little. God made us to be fully inhabiting ourselves, fully embracing who we are. And as my friend China Hawes says, I may not be some people's cup of tea. That's okay. Some people don't even like tea. I don't have to please everybody. I don't have to please everybody. If someone doesn't like me, absolutely fine. We'll go our own ways, do our own thing, on we go. Because there are enough other people out there who want to be part of the tribe. All right? So, for today, I want you practicing giving and receiving. Giving could be you give some compliments. Giving could be you buy someone a coffee on your way to work and give it to them. Giving could be you call somebody that you know is kind of lonely. There's lots of ways to give, all right? Practice that. Practice that. Then pay attention to the receiving part of the process. What can you open yourself up to receiving? Someone says, hey, can I buy you lunch? Yes, I would love that. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you is a complete reply. All right? You don't have to go nuts about it. You can just say thank you, and you're good to go. So that is your mission for today. Practicing receiving, practicing giving, getting the flow going, opening the floodgates for abundance to come in and move through and go out and spread. Have an awesome day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. And thank you for all the prayers for my sister today. Bye-bye.